Hello, everybody. I'm Elizabeth from Beauty Queens Galore, the pageant resource, and today we are here with Juliana De Jesus, our Miss Cape Coral, Florida, USA. Giving it a hello.
Hi.
I'm so excited to have you here today, and of course, to just dive in deep about our experience competing at Miss Florida, USA. I would love to start off by asking what I am currently struggling with as I prepare for my pageant in a couple weeks. What did you pack?
Oh goodness. So this is gonna be a conversation. So as she said, my name is Juliandra. I competed about a month ago. I think just about a month ago. And for me, wardrobe was my biggest issue because I made all my wardrobe pretty much. So I wanted to make sure that my biggest priority was ensuring that everything was kept in a dry and it was dried and sealed, if that makes any sense. So I wanted to make sure everything was in a garment bag. First and foremost. So for me, I planned everything pretty thoroughly. I wanted to make sure that I had an outfit for everything. And for every outfit, I had a backup outfit because accidents do happen.
Yeah.
So Florida has different events. And like I said, I packed two outfits for every single event just in case something happened. Thankfully, nothing did. So I kind of just packed for no reason, but it was worth it. It's better to overpack than underpack. But I made sure I packed for every single outfit. I had, of course, my arrival outfit was the number one. So that one had its own backup and they were put in a garment bag. And then after that, we had an interview. So I changed right into interview. And then from interview, we had our photo shoot. So I changed into that. And then my costume. And then after costume, we went on to do I think that's when we wrapped up and we did our dinner for that night. So I had two dresses for that too, just in case something happened to the first one. So I'm very careful. So my number one rule for whatever you have to pack for is make sure you know exactly what events you're going to and you pack double.
I totally respect that. I may have had one or two wardrobe malfunctions last year myself, so I wish I did have a backup. And did you make every single one of these garments that you brought for your weekend, or how long was the Miss Florida USA competition?
So the competition was 3 days. I made my important wardrobe. So there were some that I did try to make, like my arrival outfit. I did have some designs that I was totally ready to bring to life, but unfortunately, I ran out of time. And things take priority. So I'm like, you know what? It's fine. I ended up using a dress that I really liked from a Puerto Rican designer that I look up to. But yeah, for my interview, my onstage gown, my opening number, and one more outfit, my costume. So those are the four that I got to work on, which are the most important in my opinion. So I felt really special wearing them. But I feel you when it comes to malfunctions. I think I've had something go wrong with my interview outfit every single time I've competed.
No. Do you have like any kind of go-to tools or items that you use whenever you do have, God forbid, a wardrobe malfunction that you can maybe help use to fix on the spot rather than change into another outfit altogether?
Tide pen.
Whoa.
Number
Noted.
one is a Tide pen. I stay in all my clothes. I'm a really messy eater. Of course, a needle and a thread. You want hot glue, and I always bring extra buttons just in case anything happens, and safety pins.
All right. Duly noted. I need literally all of that now. I come very
Listen.
unprepared.
Write it down, girl.
Got a pen and paper right here. I would love to know, was the Miss Florida USA experience up to what you were expecting, up to your expectations? Was there anything that you didn't quite think about ahead of time or were just kind of surprised by?
So this was my second time competing, and of course, the first time around, I was very blindsided because that was my first competition ever. But this time around, I knew exactly what to expect because we had the same directors and they usually follow the same everything, right? So Robin was really great in the way that she put together this event, and she continued to put together this event throughout all the years that I got to be around it. So the first year I was very taken aback, but this time around, I knew everything that was coming. I am very anal retentive. Everything was in a binder. Everything was planned to the T. I knew where I had to be. I had my schedule saved on my phone screen because that's something I messed up on last time. I lost a lot of stuff the first time around, so I made sure I kept everything in my bag, and I was very cognizant of that. So this time around, I really didn't feel like I was blindsided by anything. I will say that this year's experience was my favorite compared to my other experiences competing before. My favorite part was the girls. Like I really genuinely do mean that. I have never competed with such an incredible group of girls. And I know it's really cliche and corny or whatever, but this time, I mean, I'm gonna say it. Like I'm not a corny person, but I really think that that was my favorite part of this experience and something I really wasn't expecting, considering my experience at my last competition. I was a little bit traumatized, but coming into this one, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make friends. I don't know if that's my priority. And I actually ended up making a lot of friends. And it was actually really hard to not make friends this year. So that's something I didn't expect that I liked about this experience.
That's really great. How did you do overall at the Miss Florida USA competition?
I placed as a semi-finalist, so I made it all
Congrats.
top 13, which was exciting.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to you on that.
Thank
And you know, something that a lot of us don't talk about too often, me being very guilty of it myself, is how we feel after we don't exactly come back home with the crown. What were some of the thoughts that were running through your head whenever, you know, you didn't make it as a finalist for that occasion?
I'm going to be very honest. Yeah, it's an honest platform. I really am an open book. So in the grand scheme of things, of course, I was more so disappointed that I didn't place higher. So of course, when I didn't call my name for top 6, I honestly didn't feel anything. I was completely calm. I got backstage, of course, and girls were upset. They were teary. They were, you know, and it happens and it's normal. And I was kind of expecting me to be like that. But I think what was so different from this time around is that I was supporting my friends. I was excited for them, of course. But I'm usually pretty supportive. But I also felt like I really couldn't have done anything differently. And I think that was the best feeling. I'm like, I came into this competition so authentically, like really, I could not have changed anything. I didn't care that they might have seen my story as being too similar to Arbany or another former title holder. I'm like, I'm coming here 100% myself. And because I did that, I genuinely didn't feel anything when I didn't make it higher and when I didn't win. I was like, okay, that's fine. I know it's not me because I was myself the whole time. And watching my performance back, I really was so proud of myself because that was my best performance to date. And to me, it's always just been about self-improvement over anything. So I wasn't disappointed. I really didn't feel much of anything. I was just like, I just accepted it as soon as it happened. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat some burgers after this and I'm going to have a night out and call it a day.
I fully respect that. And I like how we celebrate the same way. As soon as I'm done with whatever I have to do, I want to have something to eat and go out and enjoy myself and just fully distress from the weekend, the week that I had.
Me too. I'm like, burgers, tequila shots. Let's do it. I'm of age. I'm allowed to say that.
What do you say your overall goal is when it comes to competing at Miss USA or in pageantry as a whole?
Well, okay, when I was very little, it's a whole backstory. I'm Puerto Rican, so for us, our Super Bowl is, I always say this, our Super Bowl is Miss Universe, and it's something that I grew up watching. And when I was 3 years old, it was like 2003. I didn't know how to say her name, but I was like, I'm gonna be like Pololova, Pololova. I don't know what I was saying, but my mom made fun of me because she's like, ever since then, I've had this dream in my head that I wanted to be Miss Universe. And of course, like I grew up and like I grew up poor, so it was an unattainable goal for a very, very long time. I actually started pageants so late because that's the only time I could afford it was when I was an adult and I had my adult money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to pursue this goal. And of course, I went into it like, I want to win. I want to do this and that. I want to be a Miss Universe. But as I went through the process, I had a better understanding of why I started this and why I continue. And it's more so that I want to give myself better opportunities and better connections with people instead of Miss Universe. That'd be great. Don't get me wrong. I would love that. But really, I'm looking for opportunities. I'm looking for friendship and I'm looking for personal growth.
I love that. And I want to know more about your professional life as well. What is your profession and how did you get started in it?
I currently work as a production assistant we make dresses. So we're dressmakers. And I'm kind of like an in-between girl. Right now we're in a transitionary phase because I am moving. But before I was the one that I had packets. So any designs that would go into our business from the sales reps or from the designers would come to me. I would then source fabrics. I would ask any questions and write notes down for the seamstresses. So I was like the middleman before a design went to a seamstress. It was a great job. Still is a great job. Don't get me wrong. But because of the transitionary phase, it's been a little bit funky. So right now I'm just kind of like waiting. It's one of those, like I'm training the new girl and I'm waiting my way out, but it's a fashion and it's something that I'm very passionate about. Like I've always loved fashion, but it's only just recently that I decided to pursue it on a professional basis. So, and it really took me working at this job for me to realize that. So the reason that I'm moving is because I'm going back to school. I was a biology major and now I'm going to be a fashion design major, minoring in textiles. So that's sort of where I'm at right now. It's up in the air, but we're getting somewhere.
I completely understand and have been there. Not quite done that yet. I grew up absolutely in love with science. Here I am thinking I'm going to be an entomologist. And then out of the blue one day, I just thought, yeah, no, absolutely not. I want to be a chef instead. So
A chef?
A chef.
Wait,
So I just love
that.
whenever seeing anybody really pursue their passion before it comes to the arts in any form or degree. I adore that completely. It makes me feel a little bit less alone as well.
Yeah, I'd rather have a chef friend than a scientist friend. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is perfect.
You can get some cool facts off of Google, but you can't get a cool chef off of Google.
Very true. Very true.
So you mentioned that as a child, of course, you saw Miss Universe and you thought, I want to be her. But what do you say is now your why when it comes to pageantry?
I think my why did change. My why was always just to make myself proud. But I've already made myself proud. So it's like, okay, I need a new why. And I want to see myself reach goals that I don't even think exists yet. Like, I think that's my biggest thing. Is like, I want to reach my fullest potential. And I found that through pageantry, I've been able to do that a little bit more easily. Like I've been able to see my goals more in a more tangible way, if that makes any sense. And I feel like my why now is to truly reach my highest potential and whatever that may be in life or in pageants, whatever that might look like for me in the future. But I mean, nothing's ever set in stone. So I do believe that pageants were put in my path because I needed to find something out about myself. But yeah, my why was I wanted to make myself proud. I wanted to get to the Miss Universe stage and, you know, make that little girl proud that always said she would get there. But I'm like, I'm already proud of myself. So I need to find something else.
I like that. There's always an evolution when it comes to pageantry and really just depending on how you enter, how you run with it and everything, there's so much personal development that you can get from it that it is insane. Build your confidence, build your public speaking, build your just personal presentation towards others. It's so many opportunities there. And then you got on top of that scholarship opportunities, this, that, whatever. There's so many doors that can open up when you enter pageantry. So I think everyone's why evolves with time. And that's what I like to hear. But I also just want to hear a little bit of tea. Can you share any interview questions from your Miss Florida USA competition weekend?
Yes. So I actually liked the questions that I got this time around. They were a little bit basic, and that's nothing on the judges. I've been on that side. I totally get it, especially when there's so many girls. I wish I had gotten asked more questions about my bio because I thought my bio was pretty great. Not to
it was.
I did get to hit on all the notes that I wanted to, and they were on my bio, so I was pretty consistent. But I did find the questions were basic, but at least it wasn't like the one that I got the year before, which I'm going to tell you about. Of course.
Okay, I'd love to hear about that.
So I got asked, I think the first question I got asked when I walked in was, what is your greatest achievement to date? And then after that, I got asked, is this my first pageant? I said no. And then of course I elaborated. The next question I got asked was, why did you get into pageants? And I gave them the spiel. I'm Puerto Rican, Super Bowl, da 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 da, right? And then the final question I got asked, because I got asked 4 in total, which I'm surprised because we had 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I don't know how I even managed that. The last question I got asked is, why should you win Miss Florida USA? And then I give my answer. So, and I finished pretty strong. I thought I finished pretty strong, and then boom, they called time, and I left. I'm like, I really don't think it could have gone. Of course, it could have gone better. There's certain things that I look back on my interview and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have stuttered, or I should have said this instead, or like, why did I stutter? Why did I stutter? God forbid.
Man, don't stutter.
No, like I can't. You can't even help it for 2 seconds.
It just happened.
Because I'm like, I wasn't even nervous. I'm not even nervous. I really wasn't nervous. I was not nervous the entire weekend. I don't get nervous about stuff like that. But like the moment I was like, I tripped up, I'm like, seriously, girl?
It lingers in your head on top of that.
Yeah. But this interview was definitely, it was one of my best interviews, in my opinion. It wasn't the greatest, could have been better, but it was one of my personal best. So I'm like, it's just up from here. The worst question, I will tell you if you want some tea. The worst question, the worst question I've ever been asked in my pageant career to date was, and I talk about this all the time, one of the ladies asked me in the judges room, what is the most traumatic thing that's ever happened in your life?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Very loaded. I had maybe 3 minutes to talk to them, and that was my first pageant ever. So I had no real like interview training. So when I got asked that question, I was like, my grandma died. Would I answer it like that? No, absolutely not.
It's the first thing that came in mind, though.
Of course. And I got teary-eyed, and I'm like, well, now I know better. Like, you don't have to be 100% honest. Like, it's really not lying. It's just omission. Some might argue lying by omission, but whatever. So yeah, like, I really would not answer it like that now, but I had no idea that that question was coming, because I was always told they're going to ask you things from your bio. I'm like, okay. Then all of a sudden, what is the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to you? Girl.
Should have put that on your bio.
I should have put it on my bio. 100%. I was like, oh, great. Okay, cool.
That is a very heavy question. I could not imagine receiving that on my first pageant question ever. I would have no idea how to respond to that. I think it would be a solid 3 minutes of me just kind of glancing around the room thinking, well.
Like a tear starts falling down your eye. I don't want to talk about it.
Like, we only have 3 minutes. Are you sure you want to dive into it?
Yeah, right? Like, it's a therapy session now? Okay, that's fine.
You know what? I'll make the most of it then.
Yeah.
What is one skill that you think title holders should have regardless of the pageant system that they're in?
Oh, gosh. Communication.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big one. I mean, I feel like that kind of goes for anything, but especially as a title holder, I think that was one of my strengths, is I can connect to all kinds of people. Like, it's my background. It's I'm a social person in general. I grew up having all kinds of jobs where I had to work in customer service, so I'm very used to it, but I thought that was one of my strengths. I do believe that a title holder should be able to communicate with people, because if you come off as standoffish, if you don't know how to talk to certain groups, if you don't know how to get your point across, how are you going to represent an entity? How are you going to represent an organization? So that's a big one for me. I'm like, if you don't know how to communicate, you're in trouble.
I completely agree, because there's a lot of actual day-to-day communication you're going to have to do as a title holder too. So I love that. And I'm going to preface and also mention that I stalked your Instagram, because it's one of my favorite hobbies to do always. It can just be some stranger I see pop up on my feed one day. I'm going to deep dive into.
Oh my God.
Now, I want to start off by saying that you hands down have one of the most gorgeous feeds I have ever seen. And I have virtually no idea how to really create my own feed. So part one of my question is going to be, how do you take your photos and how do you edit them? I need to know.
We're going to get into it. So it's evolved throughout the years. I'm very open about my editing process too. So I'm like, I'm going to give you all the secrets. So when I first started my Instagram, it was very basic. Took it on my phone, Lightroom. And I had all my presets. I don't know what the heck I was doing. Right. And then of course I got a taste of like my own sense of style. And I just kind of posted whatever I wanted. I'm just kind of going along with a good grid. So I'll color code sometimes, and you can probably see that as you scroll down my Instagram page. I do color code a little bit. Most recently, though, I did start working with my friend. His name is Franz, and you know him. Francisco.
Francisco!
No. So
What a
he's been
small
helping
world.
me. I love him. Small world.
This is
So
so
he
much.
helped me. I love him. So it's my promo. He helped me in the process of going into Miss Florida USA. So you can see that shift in my account where it's just very like chic. I'm like, who's this girl? Before it was very like girl next door, cool girl. You know, that was the vibe I was trying to give. Like still trying to be active, but I don't really care about social media that much, if that makes any sense. I'm like, I just post what I want, post my caption, be silly about it. And then if I like how it looks, that's all that matters to me. But no, like Francisco came in and like totally changed the game for me. Like he truly, truly helped. But yeah, so my photos are either taken by my camera. I have a Canon, forgot the number, but it's a Canon. I'll probably like post it eventually. Yeah. I have a Canon. My sister will go and like take pictures of me. We do it in California, out here, wherever. If I'm traveling, I'll, snap a little picture. Or my iPhone. So those are my two, my Canon or my iPhone. And then the more professional ones are usually taken by professionals. I always tag my photographers, so their information will be there. And then if I'm editing, I no longer use Lightroom. I just try to get the best lighting I can possibly get. Or sometimes I use Lightroom. Like I like it for balancing. I think it's better than Instagram, but it's not my favorite. It's just good for a phone. I do a little Facetune, a little Face app. I'm very open about it. Okay. I'm like, there you go. I edit all my friends' pictures like that too. I'm like, I do not let anyone look bad in my pictures because the way that I see it, I have to edit it that way because you never know when someone's going to use your pictures for an announcement, for anything. Like, so I really see my Instagram as something that's supposed to look professional. So I treat my pictures as such, if that makes sense.
I completely agree. And yes, it does make sense. I am still laughing at the fact that we're talking about the same Francisco, because once you said Fran, I'm like, there's no way she's talking about the Fran I know. No way.
Sure.
He's everywhere. He is so talented. The future factor, all of that. I love him. Now, I do have a part 2 to that question. As a title holder, do you think social media should be considered really a weighted portion of competition, or really considered whenever it comes to selecting title holders?
I'm on the fence. I always, of course, I want to say no. And I have seen instances, like my first year competing, Ashley won. Ashley Ancarino, right? She then went on to compete at Miss Puerto Rico and won. We love her. She had no social media presence, right? And that's what I always think of when I'm like stressed out about my socials is Ashley won. Nobody saw her coming. She's this bombshell.
Yeah.
Gazelle, like came out of freaking nowhere because she didn't have a social media presence. But she still knew how to be a title holder.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I always try to think about that. There really is a balance. Like, I don't think it should be a weighted part because there are some girls that would fall through the cracks because of that. There are girls who have fantastic social media accounts, but they don't do that great in interview. They don't do that great on stage. They underperform in absolutely everything else. So I do think there needs to be somewhat of a balance. You do need to be able to have a social media presence and control that and, know how to work with a team or whatever. Have somewhat of a some social media knowledge, if that makes any sense. But also I don't think it should be something that's considered in scoring. Like I always think about Ashley when we're like, oh, social media, but look at Ashley. She had 3 posts on her socials.
One of the first things I did when I saw Ashley win, I went straight on her Instagram. So I'm like, this is literally a bombshell. I do what I do best. Go on social media and stalk them. There's nothing for me to look into. I was devastated. I wanted to know her background, her story, where she came from, literally out of thin air. Here I am, Florida USA, took the crown.
Yeah. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I'm like, if I didn't have to have a social media, I wouldn't, to be honest. Yeah. But because I do think it is important, like if you do win or, people want to get in touch with you for whatever reason, it is good to have that. Like I try to put myself out there within limits, with limitations. But I always think about Ashley. I'm like, look at Ashley.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to think about Ashley a lot more now again. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I would love to know that as a pageant resource like ourselves, what is something that you as a title holder would love to see more from us and for the pageant community?
Okay. When I was first starting, I like tips and stuff like that, right? I like things like this, like lives. I love asking. Like I love that you guys like, get on and like, ask real questions. I think that's important. But when I first started, I didn't have much money. Um, so I had to find whatever resources I could get. And it was hard. It was honestly really hard. There was a limited amount of podcasts, limited amount of
Mhm.
places to read information from. Yeah, like places to find coaches. Like there was Pageant Planet, but I wanted a broader scale. So I do think things like that, like giving tips and, interviewing former title holders is really cool. I think it's a good way for girls to understand what they're going to get into, think about things that they might not have realized. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that would be great. Like more tips. Although you guys have a really great feed. I love the tea.
I love what they do. Of course, like we get some tea because really there is a reality when it comes to certain pageants or just experiences in general. And I don't think anyone should be silenced or feel ashamed about sharing them. Some are shared experiences, some are unique to themselves, to each their own. But also seeing how they connect with other coaches, makeup
Mhm.
artists, designers, and really sharing their inspiration, their background. I think that is just a wonderful way to help give everybody more of an equal chance when it comes to competing in pageantry. So it's no longer really a game of privilege rather than who knows how to use their resources well.
Exactly. Like I love when a girl is transparent about who she works with. I'm very open about who I work with. I love my team. I wish more people would work with them. Not too many though. I still want them.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't
Not
have
too
them
many.
taken away from you.
No, right. Not too many. But I think it's a great way to help both sides. But I do think that I love that open and honesty, like the fact that girls can just share something anonymously. And like obviously there will be hate. It is what it is. Like there was not everyone's gonna agree. But just like if someone's like, oh yeah, I agree, or I couldn't speak out about this because I was under a contract. Um, but someone else did, like it's refreshing. And I find that that's a little bit more honest than what I have seen from other pageant resources.
I think it's
As
what
a
a lot of people want to see at the end of the day, just honesty. So they know what they're getting into, what to expect, and really be able to honestly probably make more of the experience overall.
agreed.
Every system is very unique. They all have their own quirks and everything, even when it comes to just local pageants for one big system like the Miss USA system. So I love to hear all about it, get the experiences, and know potentially what to avoid.
That's a big one.
And I want you to finish this sentence for me. I want to be remembered for.
Being iconic.
Period.
Keeping it real. Listen, this is what kept me grounded. My motto going into the pageant was I might not win, but I will be iconic. The
Yes.
crown is just an add-on.
I love that. And right now we're doing a social media challenge with my system. And yesterday it was who's your celebrity crush day, right? Someone put a photo of themselves, one of our main title holders, and said, me.
Oh
And
my
then
god.
celebrity crush. I love with that. I love that energy so much.
So real.
I think
They're
we all need
so
to be our biggest
real.
hype person because if not, we tend to be our biggest haters at the end of the day. So
Very true.
love
You
that.
know what? That is so out. It's so yesterday. Like we are our biggest fans
Yeah,
now. I don't do
yeah.
self-deprecation. I don't do that anymore. Okay.
That's
We
so
are
middle school. Time to grow
exactly.
up.
We're
Self
lovers.
love now. Now, before we kind of wrap up for today, I do want to do a little game of this and that, even though I learned so much from you already. I want to learn a little bit more, just kind of niche things. Are you ready?
Yes.
Alrighty, let's probably start with something I don't always say. I feel like I always say the same things. Hairspray or hair gel?
Hairspray.
Yes, okay. I knew I liked you for a reason.
Yeah.
Sometimes or fashionably late?
Wait, this is hard. I want to say on time. My senior quote was literally better late than ugly. But I wish I was kidding. But on time.
Unless we're in the middle of doing our hair, then we might be a little fashionably late. That's
Exactly.
usually my answer. Tablet or smartphone?
Smartphone.
Smartphone. Gold or silver?
Gold.
Gold. Are we natural glam girlies or full glam girlies?
Natural glam.
Natural
I love a
glam.
good natural beat. Yeah.
I wish I knew when I could stop for just a natural glam, but usually I'm like, well, let's add this. No,
You
do
look
a
nice.
wing. Ow, flashing at me yet.
But you're naturally gorgeous, so a natural beat
Thank you.
perfectly suits your face.
Do we prefer activewear or swimwear?
Swimwear.
Swimwear. Sneakers or stilettos?
I love good stiletto. I'm not gonna lie.
Stiletto. Curly or straight hair?
Curly.
Curly. You want to do or probably from your own experience, would you do your first pageant again with a coach or without a coach?
Oh my God, with a coach. What a mess. Oh, she was a mess. Listen, Jules is a saint. Jules and Carlos, they got me right. Every single person that I work with, I would go back and do everything the same way. Like, I really do not regret anything. Please get a coach.
I encourage everybody who's watching this, fan, contestant, everything in between, get a coach.
Get a team of coaches. You want a team. It takes a village.
From no background whatsoever, really, get a coach for sure.
100%.
Okay. Are we team East Coast or West Coast?
They're gonna hate me for this. I love the West Coast. Oh my, I'm a California girl at heart. I'm sorry.
I respect that. You know, now I think about it, I've gone out my way to actually visit the West Coast more than the East Coast.
Right.
Yeah.
I live here. Like, I get it. I love it. It's great here. But
yeah, I'm not gonna be mad regardless. But...
yeah.
Hair up or hair down?
Down.
Down. Last but not least, are we team sash or team crown?
Sash. The crown's just too much.
Yeah.
I feel more real that way. I'm like, just the sash. The crown is like, oh, I'm better than you.
I love the thought of a crown. But then when it comes to actually doing appearances and everything, walking around with it on, I'm very self-conscious.
Me too. I'm a sash girl all the way. I love a cute crown, don't get me wrong, for a photo shoot, for whatever, for like the crowning moment. Cool. Wearing it out, I just feel like a weirdo. I'm not gonna lie.
We're on the same page for that one.
I love it.
So I would love to thank you for giving us just so much insight on who you are, your experience. I would love to know, how can we stay connected with you, your journey throughout pageantry, your professional life, everything.
Okay, so I have a lot of social media accounts, but we'll keep it cute. My @, for Instagram and Facebook and YouTube should all be the same. It's Juliandra Marie, so Juliandramari. Forgot how to spell my own name. And I have a new account that I made for my couture line that I'm going to be working on. It's going to take a while. It's Juliandra Couture, and it is tagged in my actual Instagram bio, so you can follow me there too. It's very interesting. But yeah.
I like when it's nice and easy. Everything's wrapped up in one spot, so I can, go through everything. Well, again, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And of course, anybody who's watching, your makeup artist, designer, coach, contestant, we will love to hear your insight. Feel free to shoot us a DM on like Instagram, for example, at Beauty Queens Galore, so you can be on Juliandra's side next time we're here. All right. Everyone have a great day.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.